Who knew that the boy from Hershey, Pennsylvania would grow up to become Captain America for American soccer? I mean, I think Christian Pulisic has the potential to become the GOAT of men's soccer here in the United States. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to Alex from the Instagram account Pulisic FC22. He started this Instagram account because he's a Pulisic fan, and I'm just going to talk to him to know why he started the account, what was the inspiration behind it. We're going to talk about Christian, what he's been able to achieve so far, but more importantly, talk about his potential and the things that he could achieve both for Chelsea and also for the US men's national team. Welcome to Pitchside TV. Stay tuned. Before we get into the interview with Alex, remember, hit that subscribe button, post some comments below, and check out the interview with Alex. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kuda Biza here with Pitchside TV. And in this video, I'm going to be interviewing the man behind Pulisic FC22, the Instagram account that has more than 200,000 followers. So we're just going to be talking about Christian Pulisic, we're going to be talking about Chelsea, and also his inspiration in starting the channel. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in Alex. Hey Alex, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. So Alex, what inspired you to launch the Pulisic FC Instagram account?
Yeah, well, when it was first announced that Pulisic might sign for Chelsea, I'd been a lifelong Chelsea fan. So I thought this was the perfect chance to combine the most promising and exciting young American player with the club that I always had supported. So I thought it would be a perfect chance to start an account, get into Instagram, and just see what it's all about and try putting out my own content to see if people liked it. And the timing went very well because I was able to grow the followers during his first loan spell when he was back at Dortmund to finish out the season. And then by the time he played his first game for Chelsea, I was already well over 40,000 followers. So it worked out quite nicely, and I haven't looked back from there.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll tell you is that, obviously I'm one of the founders of Signables, and this Pulisic signable has been one of our top sellers in the entire collection. We have about 8 teams that we have in our collection. So Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, and a few others. But Christian Pulisic, oh my God, we sell so many of these, and people love him, as we can see from the sales, and clearly you love him too, Alex. So tell me, what exactly about Christian do you like the most?
I think, honestly, the best part about Pulisic for me is that he's got that hardworking mentality that a lot of people will associate with Americans, and I think he's made a good name for American soccer players. Or when I talk to European fans, I call them football players. But I would say that the fact that he's willing to just put in work and constantly improve his skills, consistently impress different managers, I think that just speaks volumes. And I think his work ethic is something that makes him an instant fan favorite for a lot of Chelsea fans and for myself throughout all this time I've been following him.
Right. So one thing I like about Christian, and I'm a Chelsea fan too, in case you didn't know, and I've been to the Bridge a couple of times. I've watched Christian play, I think 3 or 4 times, and he's super talented. So that much I do agree with you, and I think he's just kind of like at the beginning in terms of his potential. I believe that in the next 2 to 3 seasons, we're really going to see the best of Christian, especially if he can stay fit, because I know a lot of the injuries have set him back a little bit. But I think if he stays fit with the team that's around him, now you can see, with Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think it's a super creative, super talented team, and I think he'll thrive within that environment. I think we're going to see the best of him. So I'm going to share a couple of moments that I liked so far, and I'm going to start with this goal against Liverpool. So let's see if you remember this goal, Alex.
Pulisic, the chest control, he has support on his right foot. Christian Pulisic, absolutely brilliant by the American.
Yeah.
Do you remember this goal?
Absolutely. That was a classic. That was one of the most, possibly my favorite time ever watching Christian play, because when it looked like we were completely down and out of the game, and we did lose the game in the end, but it looked like everything was done and dusted, and then he came off the bench and absolutely revitalized our team to the point that we almost could have snagged a tie, maybe pushed it to a win. But that goal was fantastic. I remember he missed a chance before, and I thought, well, at least he's getting us involved in the game. And then he scored that goal. He had a beautiful assist to Tammy Abraham where he wiped out probably 6 Liverpool players at once. And I was just amazed at the dribbling, at the skill, at the passing. He completely turned that game around. And honestly, it was unfortunate that we gave up that late counter-attacking goal while we were pushing to win. But that was definitely one of my favorite moments watching him, and I think that was one that a lot of Chelsea fans really realized, wow, this guy's the real deal.
And what's interesting about that game, right? We were fighting for top 4, right? Because it was getting towards the end of the season. That last season had been disrupted by COVID, and after during the project restart, when teams came back again, I personally think Pulisic was the standout player in the entire Premier League, right? Because of the amount of chances he created for Chelsea and also the goals he scored, right? That one being an example. But like I said, I think he was the most improved, and he really showed what he could bring to the table. So, for me, I was really impressed, and I was just kind of left asking for more. And I wish the season had continued going a few more games after that, because, with the form that he was in, I think we would have seen some interesting magic. So it's really cool to see him grow. He's in his talent, in his confidence, and to be scoring goals like that with a lot of composure, right? He didn't panic. He controlled the ball, and he made sure that ball hit the back of the net. So that's pure class when it comes to being an attacking midfielder, and I'm happy to have seen that side of Christian. But let's come back to your YouTube, to your Instagram account. So you grew the channel while he was on loan at Dortmund, got it to 40,000. So share with me the journey to now 228,000. I'm going to share the screen right now so that we can just check out your account. But I would like for you to share the journey of how you got it to this place.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I began, it was definitely it was slow growth at the beginning. I think it took me 4 months to hit my first 1,000 followers. But I just kept posting. I found a lot of nice people who helped me out. There was one Kepa and Kovacic fan page, I remember, who helped me out. And I believe the person owning it had 30-something thousand followers, and they gave me a free shout out. I reached out. I paid for one shout out on a bigger account, but none of that did a ton. And for me, it was really just posting daily, consistent photos of Pulisic, team updates. And I realized pretty quickly on that a lot of talented content creators are on Instagram. A lot of people can edit beautifully and make wonderful posts and wonderful photos. But I realized that I just wanted to bring the best content to my followers. I knew I didn't have all the time that I'd like to do graphic design and edit things myself. So I said, I just want to find the best Pulisic content from all over Instagram and the internet. I'll repost it. I'll give credit to the people who do their designs. And that's when I decided I just needed to get the consistency going and hope that people realized, like I did, how likable a person Christian is and how talented a player he is. And over time, that just it took off.
Yeah, and I just pulled one interesting post, obviously, and this is a Christmas gift that we sent over to you. Obviously from the Signables brand, and you can see the number 10. I have the number 22. I actually need to get the number 10 one in my house. But walk me through, where do you keep your Signable, right? Like you now have the 22 and the number 10. So where do you post them?
Yeah, well, this was a particularly nice gift. I guess you weren't kidding. This was a note that said I got the first number 10 Pulisic Signable, and I guess you weren't kidding if the founders themselves don't even have it. So that was lovely to receive for Christmas. And now I've got the number 22 and the number 10 in a Chelsea themed attic in my house back home, not in college here with me, unfortunately. But they're key decorations in my Chelsea themed sports fan room, which is very nice. So they go perfectly. I have Chelsea scarves. I have a neon sign with my Instagram handle, and I have these signables among the decorations, keeping up the blue Chelsea theme. So they're super nice, very easy to distinguish, and I'm super happy that I have both the 22 and the 10. So looks like you'll have to get your hands on one of those as well.
I do actually, and since you are talking about how your room looks like, let's actually show that to the viewers right now so that they can see what we're talking about. So this is you having both, right? And yes. I like this neon where did you get that? That's so cool, man.
Yeah, that was a gift from my sister for Christmas as well. So I love that. It definitely adds to the ambiance, and I set up the signables for that photo right in front to display the number 10 and 22. But it's nice. It's definitely nice having a themed area where I can collect some things that I've gotten over the time I've been running this account. So I also got a chance to go to Stamford Bridge and got a match day programs that I can put up. I have all my old Chelsea shirts that I can put up and hang up along the wall. So it's the perfect addition to a nice set of memorabilia.
That's right. I totally agree. And here's another one too from your home collection that I'm going to share in a minute as soon as it opens up. Let me just switch the screen so that I can get it up in a minute. But it's another one of your collection at home. You are a true Chelsea fan through and through, which we love. And here it is. You have two signables, and Mount, Kante, and James. So let's maybe talk about the three players in the back. What do you like about each of them? And what do you think, they will bring to Chelsea over the next season or two? And let's start with Rhys James, because, he's young, he's upcoming, and just curious to hear your thoughts about him.
Yeah, I think Rhys James is maybe with Mount our most promising young player at the. Oh, you can't even choose. Then there's Callum Hudson-Odoi, but Rhys James bursting onto the scene. I think earlier this season I was debating with some of my Liverpool friends whether he or Alexander-Arnold were better. And currently this season, it has to be said that Rhys James has outperformed Trent. I think it's so exciting to see him coming up, rising through the youth ranks, putting in an absolute shift defensively, but he also has a beautiful cross delivery. And at first when Thomas Tuchel was playing Hudson-Odoi at wing back, I thought, is there room for James in this system? But then when Hudson-Odoi moved up, it's clear to see. I think his best position is still probably on the wing, and that means Rhys James is going to be a lockdown starter for maybe the next decade if he keeps these levels up at right back or right wing back, wherever our managers decide to play him. But then you have Mason Mount, who is criminally underrated. A ton of rival fans love to slander him and say he was a manager's favorite on the national team.
Even with Lampard too, right? They were saying like Lampard is his dad, and
Lampard had to come out in a press conference and say Mount is not my son.
Yeah.
But I think it's finally clear to anybody with a bit of a footballing IQ that Mason Mount is the real deal, and he's got every bit of talent that he needs to succeed in his position. As he said, he was going to work on his shooting one game when his defensive work rate and his passing were great, and then he missed a few chances. He said he was going to work on his shooting, and then the very next game he bagged a goal. So I think it's super clear to see that Mason Mount is headed right to the top. And then N'Golo Kante, he's been not quite at his brilliant best lately, but I think as any manager can see, he's just such an asset to have in a team. Even if he's not starting, just the fact that you can put him in for work rate, defensive stability, great reading of the game, great
play.
It's perfect, exactly. So I think those three players are three that I'm super glad to have at this club. James and Mount, I think, will be here for years and years to come. And Kante, however long he stays in the future, I know there are always rumors swirling about him. I'm absolutely glad that we got to have him as part of some of our past successful teams, and I'm glad we have him as an asset now.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you. I think those three players, I think, for the next 2 to 3 seasons are going to be paramount to Chelsea's success. And Rhys James, personally, I think he's amazing. He's been able to keep the captain out. And, Azpilicueta has been really consistent, right? If you look at some of our consistent players, for the past 5 or even more seasons, Azpilicueta has been really up there. So to see him come in and really own that position and be reliable in that position, I think that's been great. I think he still has a little bit of more things to learn. He's still coming up, but it's so promising. And I'll touch on Mount in a minute, but N'Golo Kante, man, for me, what I love about him is that he is just an amazing player, but also as a human being. I mean, like, what's not to like about N'Golo, right? He doesn't have any ego, super humble. And if you read some of the things that he does for people, it's amazing. Like there was one guy who asked him to come to his wedding, and he showed up, and I've seen pictures of him driving a Mini Cooper, and so forth and so forth. So I just love N'Golo Kante, and for what he brings. And Mason, again, another player who, by the way, when they were younger, like around 10, actually got to play together with Christian when Christian, I think, did a small stint at the Chelsea Academy. Mm-hmm. So he's also another interesting prospect, work engine, really starting to own that central midfield area. So I'm really, really excited to see what Mount will do over the next couple of seasons. So now we have a club legend leave, right? Frank, who I love and adore, obviously, for all the things that he's done for the club as a player and most recently as a manager. And now we have Thomas Tuchel come in. And I'm going to play a short clip just to show a little bit of the relationship that Christian and Thomas have. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts about, would he be able to bring the best out of Christian or not? So check this out.
An embarrassment of riches on the bench for Thomas Tuchel. It will be Christian Pulisic to come on. Now what's that all about from Thomas Tuchel? Marco Reus, the match winner, departs. Well, I think it comes down to this. No gloves allowed, not even on a chilly day in Dortmund. And don't argue with the coach.
So you can see, obviously, there they were like, having fun, and it was humorous, which is always good to see that type of relationship between a player and a manager. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think that Thomas Tuchel will bring the best out of Christian Pulisic?
Yeah, I absolutely think that's a possibility and probably a likelihood that occurs. And you even saw, too, in those first couple games when Tuchel was resting Pulisic and saying, I need you off the bench. I know what you can do off the bench. I'm experimenting with my team. There was footage of him joking with his manager. I think he was telling Tuchel that he was pronouncing Azpilicueta's name wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the story that came out, but it's great to see they have a nice, amicable relationship. They know each other well. And I do think Tuchel has pretty good man management, at least with the players who are willing to work for him and who he's familiar with. So I think absolutely we could see Pulisic really hit a new run of form, almost like last season after Project Restart. So it was unfortunate that he had his family issues and couldn't start that prior game. And unfortunately, he wasn't as impressive as we've seen him in past matches against Barnsley. But then again, a lot of our players were not amazing against Barnsley. So I think we just have to take this as it goes. I've been today and later today, maybe after this little video segment, I'll go and post another tweet supporting Pulisic and post that on my Instagram account too. But I think we just need to have some faith. We know we have a qualified manager who's worked with the likes of Neymar and Mbappe. He knows how to handle talent. And I think we just need to have some patience and let Christian get up to form, because I think it's coming. And I think once he starts tapping in goals again, once he starts getting those assists and people start finishing the chances he's creating, I think we're going to seriously see the floodgates open again, almost like last season after the league restarted.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see. As a Chelsea fan, obviously happy that we've been able to really climb the table again, right? With the loss today, Leicester beat Liverpool. If we can take advantage of it on Monday, we can find ourselves back in the top four, right? And I think the idea would be to then just stay there, right? It's so tight that our game against Manchester United, again, if it weighs in our favor, we can potentially see ourselves even much closer and inching into the third or second place. So I think we're seeing a lot of positives, and it's a weird season right now. You see teams like Arsenal way down at like 11th, Liverpool, dropping points, and now they are in the jeopardy of losing, their top four status. And as defending champions, I think it's probably crushing. But the injuries haven't really served them, any favors. But Manchester City are just running away with it. But anything can happen, right? They can lose a couple of games and it's wide open again. And for me, that's what makes the Premiership exciting. And I think, in my humble opinion, it is the best league in the world. I don't know what you think in terms of, do you think the Premiership is the best, or, the Bundesliga or La Liga? Curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that the Premier League is the best in the world. And I think it's not quite as easy as some people make it out to be. They say, oh, well, these teams have won the Champions League. They're from La Liga, so La Liga is the best league. But I think what clearly makes the Premier League the most entertaining to watch for a lot of fans is just the fact that it's variable. You don't know who's going to win. It's had far more winners than La Liga, than especially Ligue 1 and the Bundesliga. You just see consistent winners taking it over and over. And it's the same in Italy, too, with Juventus. So I think absolutely every league has its own appeal. Every league is fun to watch. There are great teams in every league, but the Premier League just has a lot of teams that on their day can beat each other, which really just heightens the entertainment aspect. Because, as you said, we had Liverpool today drop points to Leicester. They were beating Leicester, and then in a matter of 12 minutes, Leicester scored 3 goals, blew them out of the water, and now Leicester are looking great. Leicester are looking like they could challenge for the title if Man City dropped some points, as you said. So it's really just what makes people love this league, and why we watch the English game, because there's just so much that can happen.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about Christian with the U.S. men's national team, right? I like this post, and I'm going to share my screen again real quick, that you posted, where you were showing Christian in the U.S. men's national team uniform, getting ready to play, and you said American icon.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit more about him and his performances for the national team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the huge things about Christian Pulisic, is beyond his talent, beyond the fact that he's enjoyable to watch, beyond the fact that he's a nice guy, he's served as a complete figurehead for this new generation of American stars. And now I think the stats were incredible. There are dozens and dozens of Americans in top European leagues for the first time really in history. You had, with Daryl Dike coming off the bench for Barnsley, I think you had 2 American number 10s facing each other. Europe. It's an absolute embarrassment of riches there. And I think it's something that you just have to give some credit to Christian for being a bit of a pathfinder here. And he made the move. He went to Dortmund. He made a name for himself. He got a great big name, big money move to the Premier League. And looking just beyond his achievements, looking beyond his skills, looking beyond all of that, it's just served as a complete symbol to American players everywhere that they can get right to the top of the sport. And I think finally we're seeing MLS academies begin to produce top talents. We're seeing American youth players get scouted by European scouts, and it's just an environment that's far more productive for U.S. soccer as a whole. And that's why Christian may not always be remembered as the best American player ever. Some people were hyping him. He's going to be the best in history forever and ever. I would love for that to happen. I'm a huge fan of his, but what I think is most important is him opening the door for others to come in and really take advantage of these opportunities.
But would you say that he's Captain America?
I would absolutely say so. I think there is nothing I would love more. Frankly, this may be a bit of a stretch, but there is nothing I would love more than Pulisic captaining us to a World Cup win on home turf in 2026. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I would absolutely love to see him take us deep in international tournaments. I think our squad has the potential. You see people like Weston McKennie, who's fantastic, proving that we can get world-class players in multiple positions. So I would say he's Captain America, and I would hope that he captains us to some great things as a national team.
All you just have to do is believe.
Absolutely.
And talking about performances with the national team, let's watch a quick clip of Christian playing for the U.S. Men's national team.
Matt Miazga playing alongside him, first time those two have played together, as Taylor was telling you earlier. Hazard is with a good ball. Pulisic, he's onside here. He can finish, and he does finish. It's Pulisic for the USA. What a start. That's the first time he's scored for the new coach Berhalter. How about that?
3 minutes into the game, you're not even fully warm yet, and you get a chance like that. And, the keeper is coming out. He makes himself big, but he had the composure to do what he needed to do to just get it past the goalkeeper and get it in. Opportunities like that where it's one-on-one and it's happening fast, those are they're very difficult to score. But, you can see Christian kept his composure and he scored, So thoughts about his performance for the U.S. national team, starting with that goal.
Yeah, I think he's been absolutely great. And I think that's finally he's getting the support he needs from players around him. I think we're seeing that it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, taking European playing players from the U.S. and taking MLS players. I think there's absolutely a way you combine those squads, find the best talents, put a good supporting cast around Pulisic and his fellow stars. And as we've seen in that clip, everyone knows what he's capable of. That reminds me a lot, too, of his goal against Man City, where he managed to get around and slot it past Ederson. It's just time and time again, Christian Pulisic shows that he's capable of coming up big when his team needs him. He just needs the players around him to make that happen. And I think finally, Dortmund and Chelsea, he, of course, has beautifully talented teammates around him. And I think finally we're seeing a time when we're absolutely looking at an American team that is completely capable of supporting Pulisic, supporting all those other big names that are coming through. And I think we'll consistently see him score goals like that. We'll see him getting in behind. We'll see him, he can shoot from anywhere. He can shoot with both feet. He'll obviously work on finishing, but he's been great at arriving late in the box, almost Lampard-esque in that way, and just scuffling a ball into the net when we really need a goal. And I think that's something that's going to continue to develop both for the national team and for Chelsea, his goal-scoring ability. And don't let a little dry spell here and there convince you that he's not a top goal scorer, because I think when you put him in the right position, Christian Pulisic finds the back of the net.
I agree. I think he's growing in confidence. The Premiership, it's like we talked about, the best in the world, and he's starting to warm up, and people are starting to see what he could do. So for those of you watching, you can check out the Instagram account, as you can see. So just make sure you follow at Pulisic FC22. Amazing content. So if you're a Christian Pulisic fan, this is the account you need to follow. And Alex is the man behind that account. And, if you want to get the latest and greatest news about Pulisic, even some of the things that, you might not be able to see like in mainstream media, Alex finds it somehow and puts it on his Instagram account. So make sure you follow, Pulisic FC22 to follow his Instagram account. Any last words you want to share with the viewers before we head out?
I would just say be ready for Pulisic to come into form again. Everyone's been, I've heard the rumors, and everyone's been doubting him a little bit with a few shaky performances, but I think there is no doubt that he's going to pick it up and get right back to where we've seen him at his very best. And I can't wait for everyone to once again just remember how amazingly talented he is. And I think we're going to see that too on the national team. I think Americans as a whole not only those who are big soccer fans are going to think, who's this guy? I might not have heard of him, but now he's actually making a name for himself. So I think he is going to unite Chelsea fans and unite Americans behind him, and really bring it home.
Yeah, and one last question for you. Top 4 predictions for the season.
I think it has to be Man City winning it. If I'm being bold, I would go Chelsea second. But I would say maybe realistically, there's my prediction. Man City first, Chelsea second, United third, Leicester fourth is going to be my top 4 prediction. Maybe not something a lot of people would have seen coming at the beginning of the season, but I think from where we are, if current trajectory holds up, Liverpool continue to drop points, Manchester United are a little bit on and off at times, I think we could see that happen. But there's no way to know, and that's why we love the Premier League.
Yeah, I like that prediction, so I won't argue with that. Let's stick with it. Any silverware you think? Do you think we can make it all the way in the FA Cup and maybe make a Champions League push?
I think we could absolutely win the FA Cup. I find it a little difficult to hope that we're getting through in the Champions League. I think we could get through against Atletico, depending on the next draw. I'm not sure how well that'll go for us, but we're definitely learning. We're definitely improving. I think Thomas Tuchel's style is slowly being implemented, and we're seeing resurgences in key players. We're seeing Mount stepping up. We're seeing Hudson-Odoi really coming into his own. And I think we're going to see Pulisic hit form again soon. And when that happens, Chelsea start ticking. So I think it's going to be a good thing to watch. And I think we could be going home with the FA Cup. And certainly, I think we can get past Atletico if we show up and play our game.
Yeah. I think Atletico fixture, I think it all comes down to the first game. If we don't concede and, if we win, it makes the second leg much easier. I think if we lose and now we're chasing, I think it'll make things a little bit difficult. I forget where the first leg is being played, but regardless of where it's being played, I think if we can then just go into the second leg without any added pressure of trying to get a result, I think it will enable the team to play with a lot of freedom and just manage the game a little bit better, which might enable us to go through. The FA Cup, I also think, we can make a push. I think the draw was very favorable to us, considering, who are playing in the next round. And if we can avoid, United or City in the next round and maybe have a much more favorable, draw, it might just inch us closer. Once you get to the semi-finals and final, you're meeting the best of the best. So I think we just need to be prepared to meet some of these tough teams. But the FA Cup has been a cup where we've, usually made it all the way to the end. Last year, we were very unfortunate because if Christian didn't get injured in that game, I honestly think we would have won, and, Frank Lampard and the team would have had some silverware. But I think the pivotal point in that game is Christian getting injured, and it kind of like shows his importance to the team, especially last season, because that was where Arsenal really capitalized and they were able to come in and win, because we lost really our attacking threat in this case, which was Christian. So anyway, let's see where we go with that. But Alex, thank you so much for joining us and making the time. And again, thank you so much for creating the Pulisic FC 22 account. I follow that account, and you're always updating and sharing really good, engaging content. And thank you so much for collaborating with Signables. We look forward to collaborate with you over and over again. And we just can't wait to see where you're going to take this amazing community that you've created.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It's been great. And as you said, I think maybe one of the next places I'll try to take it is on an audio chat app, Clubhouse, that I've just discovered. So I'm going to see if we can unite people and do a sort of live podcast thing, talk before games, during games. And I just want to keep more people updated on Pulisic, updated on Chelsea, updated on the national team. And thank you very much for having me on. This has been great, and I've enjoyed working with you guys.
Awesome. Well, that was an amazing interview with Alex from Pulisic FC 22. And thank you so much for watching Pitchside TV. Make sure you follow our Signables Instagram account so that you can see all things signables. We have a lot of signables that we have in our collection, from Chelsea signables, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, Tottenham Hotspur, and Club America Pumas. We're building an amazing collection of collectibles. So make sure you follow Pitchside TV, the YouTube channel for Shop Signables. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day.